Welcome to a special episode of HP Unplugged, where we engage with extraordinary leaders whose journeys inspire, challenge, and redefine leadership itself. Today, we are deeply honored to host Lieutenant General Deependra Singh Hooda, retired, one of the India's most revered military strategists and a symbol of resilience and integrity. Over a distinguished career spanning 4 decades, Lieutenant General Hooda led with valor in the most challenging terrains, from the icy heights of Siachen to the tense front lines of strategic operations, including the pivotal 2016 surgical strikes. In this conversation, we uncover not just making of a soldier, but the spirit of leadership that endures, built on courage, compassion, and clarity of purpose. Let's embark on this remarkable journey together. Very good afternoon, sir, and welcome to this episode of HP Unplugged. We are truly honored to have you here, sir, on this platform.
Surupto, thank you very much for inviting me. Great pleasure for me to be here speaking with you.
Sir, it's for the first time that we are going outside the organization, and till now in HP Unplugged, we have always interviewed leaders from our organization, but we felt that we need to have experiences from outside the organization who had a very different kind of an experience, and our organization people can learn from. So you are the first one that we are interviewing, sir.
It's a great honor for me to to be the first one on your show.
I have heard a lot of TEDx shows of yours, and I had the privilege to see you live also, hear from you. In that, you have spoken about the harsh condition in which the Indian Army officers and the soldiers live in Siachen. So my first question is on that how do they survive? They not only survive, but they thrive in those conditions. They fight for our country, they protect our borders. And what is the motivation that really, propels them to do this?
So, Sudipto, as you said, conditions in Siachen are extremely harsh and difficult. Temperatures go down to minus 60 degrees, and winters you get 60 feet of snow.
Yeah.
And oxygen levels are so low that even taking one step becomes very difficult for people. Below your feet you have these crevices which are covered by a thin layer of snow, so you can't see them. If you fall inside those crevices, literally you vanish.
Sure.
If you look above, you see these mountains, with so much snow that avalanches will come down. So, as I said, conditions are immeasurably sort of harsh. What drives them? I think, it's a physical challenge, it's a mental challenge, and I think it's your only inner strength and resilience which keeps you going in these areas. Let me give you a small example. So, in February 2016, we had a small post called Sonam Post. When I say a post, it was just a single tent with 10 men living inside. That was the post. And the avalanche came and it covered this whole tent with about 30 feet of snow.
Okay.
And we had no way to, when we went for the rescue operation, to pinpoint where exactly the tent is.
Oh. Because it was all covered with
snow. It was completely covered with snow. So it took us 6 days before we could find where the tent is, dig 30 feet down and start pulling people out. And you'd be surprised, Sudipto, after 6 days, one soldier, his name was Lance Naik Hanuman Thappa, was alive.
Yeah, we read it on the news.
Yeah. So unfortunately, he passed away later in the hospital. But I mean, so his story actually exemplifies, this grit, this determination, this spirit that these soldiers have to display on these heights. So
this is almost superhuman effort, because
it is
6 days in minus 50, 60 degrees centigrade, under 30 feet of snow.
Yeah, absolutely. And tons of snow, and how we survived. So as I said, that really is the grit and spirit. And to me, frankly, no challenge is insurmountable if you yourself are determined that this is the way I need to do it.
So as a civilian, as from the corporate, what can we learn from this, and how do we bring in, obviously that kind of motivation will be very difficult, but at least part of it if in our lives to...
Look, as I said, it's up to you. It's your own mental conditioning and strength. Look, there are going to be challenges, setbacks everywhere. So whether you are in the army or whether you are in corporate life, so it's your determination to succeed, not give in to your fears. I mean, those are things that really get you through these difficult times.
We understand, sir. Like, this is something that we need to learn and imbibe in our life, and such a brilliant example is Indian Army in front of us.
Thanks.
There is something I heard you talking about is unlimited liability, and that is the kind of a code with which the officers and the soldiers operate. So tell us something about that.
So Surupta, what distinguishes the army life or military life, let me say, from any other profession? And it's this concept called concept of unlimited liability, which is that I can go to any extent in the performance of my duty. Any extent means I am also willing to give up my life in the line of duty. I don't think there is any other profession that demands this of you. That in the course of your work, you should be able to be ready to sacrifice your life. So that's one key element, I think, of military life, and the term that's used for it is the concept of unlimited liability.
Okay. Now I want to go to a very difficult part of your career. I think the entire nation was shook when the Uri attack took place in 2016, and it was a very sad moment for all the Indians and especially for the Indian military. And you were the commander during that time, so we cannot explain what must be going on inside you. But as a leader, how did you respond to it? What were you thinking in your mind, and what did you implement there?
Look, I still very vividly remember 18 September 2016 is when the Uri attack took place. We lost 19 soldiers. That was, I think, the biggest single day loss of soldiers in 30 years of fighting terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. And as a leader, frankly, there is a sense of disappointment. There is also a sense of failure. Could you have done something better? Why is it that so many soldiers have been killed? Could something have been done to make sure that there wasn't so much loss of life? You also, I think, as a leader, have to cope with enormous criticism. I mean, in the media, social media particularly becomes very vicious. They question the professionalism of the army. How is it that this could happen? But I think very quickly we decided that, look, we need to respond to this. And for us to respond to this, we have to stop moaning and groaning about what has happened. Sure, it was a tragic moment, but now we needed to look ahead. What is it that we need to do to respond to this? And so that is why very quickly planning started for what then became known as the surgical strikes. And the fact that we quickly pivoted from a very defensive mindset to an offensive mindset and were able to launch the strike within 10 days was because we had decided early that
at that particular moment, did you decide when you went to the camp?
By that evening,
we
had decided that we will do this. My only sort of advice is, look, tragedies happen in every organization. Problems happen in every organization. Sometimes I think we spend too much time, apportioning blame, who's to blame for this, talking too much about why it's happened. Look, a situation has happened, it's in front of you. Most of your energies must now go towards finding a solution to that. And which is what, as I said, we very quickly sort of pivoted to, that we needed to carry out a strong cross-border operation and send a big signal to Pakistan Army and the terrorists that if such a thing happens, then there will be a strong response from the Indian side.
Talking about that now, the surgical strike, I think That is one of the things that really united all the Indians all across the globe, and we were very, very surprised actually by the kind of reaction the Indian Army gave, and a pleasant surprise that we could do that kind of a thing. And I don't want to go into the operational details of it, that might be top secret. I just wanted to know that how, as a leader, you prepared your team to take up this challenge, and what did you tell your team, how did you prepare them both mentally and physically for that kind of a challenge, and what was going on in your mind when that particular operation was taking place?
Look here, the teams were already prepared. In fact, it wasn't something that we decided immediately after the Uri attack. For almost a year, we had been training our special forces and preparing them for a cross-border operation contingency.
Okay.
So some of the information that we needed about terrorist camps and where they are, what the routes, etc., will be like, had already been sort of put in planning. And so we had some broad plans already in place. The 10 days that we took basically were to refine the plans, select the final objectives, where will we exactly go, etc. As I said, troops were prepared, troops were confident. Sometimes, there is a feeling that the army planning process is that this big general Saab gets up and says, one day, aise hoga, so everybody just says, okay. But actually the planning process involved also people who are to execute the operation.
Okay.
Because they are the ones who have to go across. So the planning process was...
so it was kind of a brainstorming session?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. With very young officers, very senior officers, all included. And that's how the plan was formulated. By taking the views of people who are actually to execute the operation.
Yeah.
At the time when the operation was being launched, frankly, I was most like a spectator. And I'm saying this for a specific reason. People ask me, you must have been getting minute-to-minute reports from people, and that you must have been telling them minute-to-minute what to do. That's not true. People were ready. A good plan had been made. Once they have crossed the line of control, gone across into Pakistani territory, they are the ones who have to react to whatever situation comes. So as I said, while we were watching things, when the drones were flying and we were getting some pictures of what's happening on the ground there, but people who are to execute it, they are the ones who are there on the ground. They are seeing minute by minute what situation is unfolding. So really, it was up to them, and they performed outstandingly, I would say. So again, a little advice which I can give is, don't over-centralize, the execution. Have confidence in your men and let them exercise the initiative. That sometimes works better than trying to control everything yourself.
And involve them in the planning as
Absolutely.
well as because they are going to
They're the ones who have to execute it on the ground. If you don't take their advice, then where the operation is going on, you're dealing with situation yards in front of you. I was sitting 200 kilometers away in my headquarters. Yeah. Impossible for me to try and control it. Right. It wouldn't have been right also.
Thank you very much, sir. That's a very, very important lesson in leadership, that we need to have everybody onboarded, and we need to give more confidence to our teams for them to execute the operations. What are your core values, sir, as leadership, that you always have imbibed throughout your career, and you're still taking that forward? So what are the core values that you...
So look, there are values. I won't say they are personal values or my values. What we go by is army values. And what are these army values? These are integrity, honesty, courage, loyalty, comradeship. These are values that are not only sort of imbibed among people, but also practiced regularly. So for us, these are not nice to have qualities, or these are morally desirable. These are absolutely essential to our functioning.
Okay.
So if you don't have loyalty, if you don't have courage, who is going to attack a hill where firing is coming and you can die?
Yeah.
So it's because these core values are practiced at all times that the army becomes such an efficient organization. So where values help is, as far as individuals are concerned like me, when you are faced with a difficult situation, these values will guide you and tell you this is the correct path. Not necessarily the easier path, but the correct path.
The correct path.
This is what you do. And if the organization, every individual follows these values, that is what makes the organization very strong and very resilient. So I know there are values which corporates, different organizations have different values. My only suggestion to them is, let this not become something that you talk about annually during your conferences.
Right.
But this should become a part of
The
functioning,
DNA,
and the functioning of the organization.
Right.
Everything that you do must have at the back of its mind that yes, these are my values which I need to follow.
I think that's a very good lessons for everybody across the organizations, that you need to have strong values because that only gives you the strength. And I think integrity, honesty and camaraderie is something which every organization requires.
Absolutely.
And every organization need those values for their strength. So now we spoke about all very intense thing, we talked about surgical strike and Uri attack. Now I wanted to know some, some really great stories about, something that was tense during that time, but now you laugh about it. Like you make fun with your friends that, oh, that might have happened, because that is something we believe that very important, because in a day-to-day life we get tensed about things that, oh, how it is going to be done, and then later on in the hindsight we see कि अरे ये तो मजा आया इसको करके ऐसा. So something about those.
No, as I said, humor is such an essential part of military life because it dissipates tension. So at that time, you might be feeling, what has happened. But later when you, as army officers and men sit down together, these are the stories you recount, what tough time it was and some accidents, some tragedies. I recall we were going on an operation. It was at night, walking in the jungle. And we could very dimly see a footpath along which we were walking. And it was curving like this. So one of the officers said, why should I take this long route? I'll just take a shortcut. So he tried to take a shortcut, and the villagers there, they dig these big pits for bears.
Oh, for bears, huh?
And they've got all thorny bushes inside. And so this guy went straight into that. And at that time, all of us were like, oh, this guy is slightly injured. We had to pull him out. But later we used to laugh about it, that, there is this adage, always follow the beaten path. There was an instance when an officer, he got a little angry. I was telling him, I said, you are not doing enough to dominate the Pakistani side. You're not firing enough. And one day he just disappears from his post. And without a radio set, he walks across the border. Now I will, show, I will do something. And those 2 hours were very, very tense till he came back because we had no contact with him.
Okay.
But later, everyone used to sort of laugh and joke about it. How is it that you did this? So there are hundreds of stories like this.
That's very interesting. So he walked across the border.
Yeah. Oh. He just walked across. Got a little irritated, angry. Why am I being told I'm not doing anything? So I will go across and do something and then only come back.
Okay. That's interesting stories. Sir, we want to talk about some of your hobbies, and I know that Indian Army has always been into sports, and a lot of medals are courtesy the Indian Army and all the defense forces. So, what are your favorite hobbies in your pastime and the favorite sport that you want to do?
So I played a lot of basketball.
Okay.
And I'm a great cricket fan.
Okay.
So I'm watching
IPL.
Yeah, very, very seriously.
Favorite cricketer?
So favorite team, I will tell you. I think I'm liking KKR is doing well and Delhi is doing well. I'm feeling very sad for CSK. Chennai. I mean, once such a fantastic team, and today honestly looks like a shadow of its former self. But I'm sure everybody will sort of bounce back. So for us in the army, sports is not merely a physical activity. It's a team building. And when I'm saying team building, not the 10 people who are playing as a team, but the whole unit behind it. So, you know, a unit is about 1,000 men.
Yeah.
So I'm from a Gurkha battalion.
Okay.
So if there's a football match going on between Gurkhas and say Assam, which also has good football players, the cheering that you will see will put any IPL match to shame.
To shame, okay.
Yeah. Because the unit sort of feels that it's not only the team that is going to win and lose,
It is
but
the entire
unit. Unit is going to lose.
Okay.
So that is the way it sort of builds up very strong bonds. It builds up a lot of comradeship. That is sort of what sports does. I'm sure it's elsewhere too, but particularly intense in the military.
And sir, this is something that a lot of corporates are also doing now, because they're also bringing sports as a very integral part of their culture, so that they can build teams. In HPCL also, we give a lot of focus to sports. We have our inter-unit meets, then we go to public sector meets also for playing.
Yeah, so there must be that ownership, that it's not the team that is winning, but the organization that is winning.
Yeah, correct. So that's a lot of camaraderie going on there. Sir, in the end, what is the message that you want to give to all the young budding leaders, or also the middle level leaders who are going to lead small teams, big teams, large teams, something that you want to give a message to?
So yeah, what I want to say particularly to the young professionals is, take pride in your work. Sometimes we get this feeling, this work is not interesting enough, it's chota sa kaam hai, not worth my while, etc. I think you should be proud of what you are doing, and you must make an attempt to learn more and more. People say hard work is indispensable, but so is knowledge. If you do not have knowledge about your work, really, success will be very elusive. So work hard, do well. I also want to tell the young professionals that look, everybody today says the future is very uncertain. We don't know what Trump is going to do tomorrow. Future is very unpredictable, very uncertain. And among all this uncertainty, unpredictability, Sudipto, one thing is absolutely certain and predictable. It is that these young professionals of today are going to make the India of tomorrow.
Correct.
It is their responsibility. The whole weight of how India grows tomorrow, what shape it takes, is on the shoulders of these young professionals. And so that is the understanding that they should have about how they work. So, and of course, my best wishes to all of them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And it was lovely talking to you. We spoke about a lot of things, and I think this interview is going to benefit a lot of professionals who are watching this. They can learn a lot from this. And thank you once again for appearing for HP Unplugged. We are truly honored to have you here.
My pleasure, Sudipto. And wonderful meeting you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lieutenant General Hooda, for sharing your remarkable insights, experiences, and wisdom with us. Through your stories of resolve amidst adversity, leadership under fire, and unwavering commitment to values, you have given us a profound reminder that true leadership is not about titles or accolades, about service, sacrifice, and quiet strength of stand tall when it matters most. This has been HP Unplugged. Until we meet again, keep leading with resilience, with empathy, and with purpose. Namaskar, Jai Hind.